Hello! Here in the Southern Hemisphere, it's Christmas in July. It's always cold and miserable in Melbourne at this time of year, so what better way to warm up than with an art supplies haul? Not that I really need an excuse to do one, but I figured it's a good time, so why not? Let's get into it! I'm not messing around here. First up are a couple of new inks by Art Spectrum, Artist Pigmented Ink in Ultra Black and Indigo. These are quite large at 50 mils, and I previously had bought this Raven ink, and I did a video on that ages ago, but I decided I wanted some more shadow colours, and I thought Ultra Black and Indigo would be good ones to try, so I'm just going to do a really quick swatch of them so we can see the differences. I bought Ultra Black because I don't seem to have much black ink anymore. I've used it all up, or it's dried up in the jar, which is super annoying, but this Ultra Black lives up to its name, and it's some of the blackest ink I've ever seen. Next up is Indigo. I could tell from the bottle that it's going to be a very blue one, and when I'm swatching it out, I was actually thinking it looks a lot more like Indian Throne blue rather than indigo, and by comparison, Raven looks like an indigo to me, although maybe leaning towards the greenish side. But it's interesting how three dark colours look so totally different, and I'm really glad I bought these two new inks. I think I'll have to do some monochromatic paintings with them. Next up, I bought some cheap little paint palettes. They're plastic, and sometimes I don't want to use my nice porcelain ones, so I thought I would stock up on some cheapies for whatever purpose in the future. I also found this tiny handmade palette out of clay that's been kiln fired. It's so adorable. It was in a little gift shop. I have no idea which paints I'm going to put in here, but I might make a video one day just filling up a bunch of small palettes like this. I also found another cute little porcelain palette. I love this one. I could fit 12 paints in here, and what I didn't realise until filming it is it's reversible, so you can use the other side as well, though I guess you could probably only use one side at a time, but it's a nice little one. Adding to my little palette collection there. And I have one more palette to show, a New Wave Easy Lift Peelable Artist palette. I admittedly impulse bought this because I have that Stay Wet handy palette and it's supposed to fit in there. I'll show you that now, because I wasn't actually sure if it was even going to fit in here. Here we go. It looks like it's going to, so I'll just open the lid and pull out my used piece of paper here, and then the sponge has gone all dry. I'll need to wet that again once I want to use it. But when I used this wet palette, I didn't have much luck on the paper in that all of my paint went really runny, so I was just curious to know if the plastic would work better, and I'm still not entirely sure if you're supposed to put it on top of the sponge, but it does fit like a glove, so at least that works. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure why I bought this. I have no idea if this is going to be useful or not, although I have actually put some gouache on it and it worked quite well, but I'm not too sure about the stay wetness of it. Anyway, I'm just going to put all that together, and moving on, in my previous haul I showed this watercolor half pan set which I bought from Kmart. I still haven't shown it in a video, but I found some little sketchbooks to go with it. These were $4 each, and I figured I would just get them and try them out even if I don't use them all the way through, but it looks like a pretty decent little sketchbook, so when I eventually try out the paints, I will paint them in this sketchbook and we could try out that paper too. For $4 I'm not expecting much, but I'm hoping it will be at least half decent. And it's a really cute little size as well. Not only do they have the watercolor sketchbooks, but they also have some other ones, and I figured I'd get one of each just to try out at some point. They've got a regular sketchbook here with 140 GSM paperweight. This is not for water, this is just for dry media, and it looks alright. Because it's so cheap, it would be one of those sketchbooks I wouldn't worry about making a mess in, so I thought this could be fun to draw in at some point. And then there's a third book. I'll just get that one into camera. This one's for calligraphy and lettering, so I guess the paper's a bit smoother and it is whiter. This one actually looks really good quality, so maybe when I do one sketchbook I'll just test them all out at the same time and just do a big video trying out all of the Kmart items together. Next up is something I've been meaning to get for quite a while, and that is some brush cleaner. I did shop around and decided on this Chroma Incredible brush cleaner. It's gotten some really good reviews, and apparently it even removes dried paint that's years old. Now I have quite a lot of brushes which are just completely out of action because they are no longer usable. I find brushes that are used with acrylic, no matter how much I wash them, once they dry, the bristles just go completely stiff and then the brush is just rendered totally useless. And the worst offenders I find are gesso and polyurethane gloss varnish. They just destroy brushes. I mean, look at the state of this one. Oh my gosh, that's not even the worst one. Look at these. They are just embedded with gesso and other acrylic paint, and they are just stuffed. I really hate throwing brushes out, so I'm going to try and resurrect these ones so they can be used again. And I'll definitely share this in a video so you can see if this stuff is worth it or not. I really hope it works. Next up, I found these metallic paint sticks. These are aimed at young children, but I have to say they are surprisingly good. I've started filming a video on these and eventually I'll release it, but I was genuinely shocked with how good these are. Last month I went out to visit my father and we ended up going to a new art store in Ballarat. It's predominantly a framing shop, but it does have art supplies, so therefore it is an art shop. It even had a Bob Ross figurine in the window display. And a bunch of supplies by Meaden, who have started expanding into actual art supply stores within Australia. And a shout out to Meaden. After I posted my watercolor review, they actually gifted my father a set of these as well. They posted it out to him. Thank you so much. But back to the framing shop, they had a clearance section with some brushes that were 50% off, and I decided to get some. I really love these travel brushes. I have a number 6 from the Princeton Neptune range, so I thought I would add to it by getting a round number 8. And because I also really like the Elite range within Princeton, I got a 6 and an 8 in those brushes as well. They're pretty expensive, but at half price it made them kind of affordable, and I just went, you know what, I'm getting them. I haven't actually opened them yet, but I just thought I would get those for a rainy day because they're so lovely. And another item that I bought, which I'm not going to use straight away, is this 365-day sketchbook from Kiki K. This was also on sale, and I really don't need any more journals or sketchbooks, but I love the design on this. Plus it has shiny gold, and I couldn't resist that. Magpies unite. But it's just basically very thin paper, so I don't know how good it is, but it's not dated, so you can add your own dates, and I thought maybe I can work my way through this like I totally worked my way through another 365-day book and only got about a third of the way through. But you never know, I might use this one day. It's hard to resist the siren call of so many blank pages like this. Let me know, do you have books that you buy and then don't use? Please tell me I'm not the only one. Did I say I don't need more sketchbooks? Well, apparently I do, because I bought a Cardi Fat book. This was on sale too. Of course it was. And I've seen other people use these. I want to try one as well. It's 100% cotton rag, made in India. I've already bent one of the corners. That cover was not coming off, so I ended up having to cut it. But I'm not going to throw it away, I'll stick it in somewhere. The book itself is very plain, and I might actually glue some stiffer card to the cover because that is just going to get destroyed very quickly otherwise. But the paper's really interesting, it's all handmade, and it has this one dark grey piece in the middle of it all, but the rest of it is this white colour here, and you can see how raggy and cottony it is. I'm very excited to try this out, but I have promised myself that I'm going to finish another sketchbook first before I start one of these. I shall put this in the to-do pile. Another item that was on the paper sale is this beautiful box from Japan. This is an assortment of origami papers, and the box can be used to store art supplies, jewellery, and other precious items. I was drawn in by that lovely shiny box, and then when I opened it in the store, they had one on display. I knew I just had to get some for myself. It's too nice to use, but I just love this selection of lovely origami papers. I think they have sort of cotton and rice papers, and I don't even know. I need to do a bit more research on them, but you can see that they're all just so beautiful. And I'm a bit scared to use them, but I will eventually, because once I get into using a few papers, then it's a lot easier to use the others. Sometimes I just like to collect paper and look at it. I know that sounds really silly, but I'm sure many of you can relate to it, because I know there are lots of you out there who love paper as much as I do. And hey, it's the middle of winter, I figured I would treat myself to something lovely. It's almost more like an heirloom than an art supply. and I'll store that piece of paper inside the box for safekeeping. While I'm on paper, I also found a sample pack of Baohong paper. This comes with hot press, cold press and rough, 3 sheets of each, and I thought I might just do some full paintings on each sheet, just because it's a nice size. I've used Baohong paper before, but it was a much cheaper way to get a bunch of the paper, which I could cut down if I wanted to. So I'll add this into my stash of watercolor paper sheets like this. I also need some paint, and Paul Rubens has done it again. They've sent me some more of these large pans. These are the 2 that I was missing. I'm so happy to receive these. They're currently over 60 Australian dollars each, so there's 120 bucks right there. And the 2 colours that I'm missing are this lovely bright yellow, lemon yellow to be exact, and then the brightest colour of them all, this Chinese red. It's insanely intense. I'm working on this video because I do need to get this out soon for Paul Rubens, but I'm just super happy that they sent them to me, and now I have all 6 of the colours that they've released. I'll do some colour mixes and stuff like that when I film my video as well. But along with these, the rep sent me something else, and it's this huge tin of watercolors, 48 of them, in this most amazing rainbow colored tin. I just had to show this to you now. I am going to do a separate video on it, but it's so beautiful, and I will be going into this in depth. I've already filmed it, but I just thought I'd give you a little sneak peek of it. They're all wrapped up in paper, and it gives you 4 extra ones, which are duplicates of 4 colors. So I'm going to make 2 videos, which I'll probably release back to back. These paints are different from the 4th and 5th generation sets that they sent me a while ago, so I'll show you all of those. I'm getting so many of these paints, but that tin is gorgeous. Let's Resin have sent me a couple of their new gadgets, including an electric resin mixer. I'm really curious to try this because mixing resin by hand takes forever, so I'm hoping this will be a bit of a time saver. We shall see. And the other gadget is a resin bubble remover machine. It's rather enormous, a bit bigger than I was expecting, but this should also be interesting to see if it removes the bubbles from the cup. They also sent me some new molds because I have a whole bunch of resin that I need to use up, so I'll aim to make a video on those soon. Oh my gosh, this thing is taking up a whole lot of my desk here. I hope it's good. This one arrived after I'd filmed everything, but I thought I would put it in. Ohuhu Halawa 72 oil-based coloured pencils, and I'm definitely going to try these in my Ohuhu Mixed Media sketchbook. Moving right along, who else was kind of disappointed by the Amazon Prime Day sales this year? They felt a bit lackluster, and barely anything on my wish list was on sale, of course, but I did find a few items. And the first one, which had just had a price drop and wasn't on sale, is this little book, Australia, A Beautiful Continent. I'd seen this book at my dad's and I really wanted it, so I bought myself my own copy. It's just got some really lovely photos in it, and I thought this would be a handy one for art inspiration when I have no ideas what to draw. I can just copy one of the pictures out of here. It has animals and scenery from around Australia. There are quite a few books in the series, but I thought this one was the best because I'd looked at a few others in a bookshop and they just didn't appeal to me the way this general Australia one does. There's a nice picture of Sydney Harbour, and the next one, I really love this photo. It's got so many beautiful colours in it, and some photos of good old Melbourne. I mean, I have a lot of these kinds of photos in my own stash, but they've got some really good ones, especially of Flinders Street Station there. I'll try and remember to link some of the items in the description below. Obviously, a lot of the items I bought are in shops, so they may not be available online, or at least not internationally, but Amazon is easy to list, so I'll put those links in for sure. Although I think I bought the last one of this, so this might not actually be on Amazon at this time. But if it is, I'll link it. I've had this on my wish list for ages and it went on sale, the Essential Colour Card deck. I like its compact size, and while I'm not the biggest fan of colour theory, I do like colour cards because it can be fun to choose random colours and then make an artwork based on that colour palette. I'll just take the plastic off and we'll take a quick look inside. And of course, when I get the lid off, there's more plastic, so I'll just get rid of that too. I wasn't sure what to expect from this set, but it's actually quite involved and there's a lot of detail in here. I was looking at them thinking I was expecting a solid colours, and I'm getting all of these really complicated looking charts. And it took a little while for the penny to drop. that I probably had the cards upside down, and there's the colour on the other side. So now flipping it over, this makes a whole lot more sense, and on the backs of the cards there are details as to how you would achieve those colours and whether they're tints or hues, etc. So there's a lot of colour theory here, probably far more than I'm ever going to want to know, but these might come in handy if I'm ever trying to explain colour theory to someone, because it is just so complicated and I probably don't understand half of it. But there's also a booklet in here which you have to fold out, and it's got all sorts of information on it, so it's a really detailed set, and I think if you were wanting to study colour theory, then this would be a really helpful way to do it. I much prefer cards like this than reading a textbook. I would be asleep in minutes, whereas cards you can kind of shuffle around and just look at one colour at a time, and it looks pretty extensive. So I'm really glad I bought this. I'm glad I waited for it to be on sale, and it was still something like $40, but I decided I'm gonna have it because it's actually on the sale on my wish list, and would you believe I even managed to fold it back up correctly? Woohoo! I think I'll have to make a video just picking random colours and then making art, because that's really fun to do, and it's been ages since I've done something like that. Another handy tool if you have art block, just choose some colours and hopefully that will inspire some creative ideas. The other wishlist item that went on sale is this Everlasting Wet Palette by Red Grass. Now, Lindsay the Frugal Crafter collects mini palettes. I collect wet palettes. I'd had this on my wishlist for a couple of years, so I figured I was going to get it. I've also been getting into painting miniatures as a hobby, and yes, I can hear you all rolling your eyes out there. If you think art's expensive, painting miniatures is a real money pit. But I've really been enjoying it, and I'll show you some of my miniatures soon. I managed to rip the box, that's so annoying. But it comes with quite a lot of stuff, including this really high quality magazine, which has a whole bunch of information about painting miniatures, and I will definitely have to read this at my leisure. Even some more colour theory in there. So the palette I got is probably the cheapest one, the Painter Light. There's also the more expensive ones, but I figured this one is perfectly fine for what I need, and I'm now thinking that I actually do have the glass palette that fits in there. I need to find it and test it out, but it comes with hydration papers and a couple of sponges, and once I get the plastic off, here's the wet palette itself. So it's basically a lid and a base, and then you put the sponge and the piece of paper in there with the water so that it keeps everything wet. Now, miniature paints actually dry a lot faster than regular acrylic paints, so they do kind of need their own special paper. This has got a nice rubber seal on it, and I think this is going to be really great quality, so I'm looking forward to using it with my miniatures. And in case you have no idea what I'm talking about, here are some examples that I've painted. This is the very first one, a dragon and a pot of gold. These are Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer related things. I don't play the games, but I really enjoy painting the figurines, and I might do a video on this at some point. It's kind of my hobby, so I don't really want to make it into a YouTube thing. But let me know if you're interested. Maybe I'll make one miniature video and show you the supplies I have and paint one of my miniatures, because I have quite a few in reserve for this idea. This little goblin is one of my all-time favourites that I've painted, and I found that my art skills have transferred nicely over to miniature painting, so no real issues there. Here's a Warhammer one. I think this was a freebie, and every month they actually do give out a free model of the month. You're meant to sit and build it in the store, which is what I've been doing, and then you can take it home and paint it, and I'll take anything that's free. This is a larger one that I painted recently, a troll goblin-y thing. I got this for cheap at one of those swap meets, you know, where people bring their supplies in and try to sell them so that they can buy other things. There was not just one, but two of them, so I did two entirely different colour schemes. These ones were so much fun to do, and they took me quite a long time because there is a lot of detail on them. The biggest question I have is where the hell am I going to store all of these? But this leads me into my next purchase, a set of metallic paints by Army Painter, and I found this lot on the Prime Day sales. Probably the best item I got because it was nearly 40% off and much cheaper than anywhere else that I'd looked at online. I really don't need them, but I do like that it's a metallic set, because all of my miniatures end up getting covered with metallic paints. I just love the shininess of them, and it just makes them really stand out. It comes as a set of 10 metallic paints. There's a paintbrush and some other bits and pieces in here which I'll go through. I also have many miniature brushes, but I can always do with another one. Some of the ones I have are getting a bit tatty, and they probably need a bath and that brush cleaner, but I'll just show you one of the paints. Miniature paints are very liquidy, but they're also quite opaque, and then you just basically drip these onto the wet palette so that you don't have to worry about them drying too quickly. And I'll just flip through the booklet because this is another one which is really detailed and high quality. It's got all sorts of information about miniature painting, and I have to give it to these companies. They put out some really great stuff. You could see it's just an entire rabbit hole to fall down, and I am really just into the painting part. Those guys are a bit like the ones I painted. It even has a sticker sheet, which is a complete winner in my book. I've actually done a video on the Army Painter wet palette. It's the first one I ever got, and it is looking quite dinged. I don't know what I did there, but this is the one that sold me on wet palettes in general, because they are so handy. Even if you're using regular acrylics or gouache and you want the paint to stay wet for a few hours or even a few days, they're super handy. And the last item I bought off Amazon Prime Day sale is a random thing. I just saw this and went, you know what, I'm going to get it and we'll try it out on the channel. It cost me, I think, $20 Australian, so I'll just get it out of the box. It's a tube of Hiforny 120 coloured pencils, plus a few other things in there. I'd never heard of this brand of pencils, and I just got this totally on a whim. I thought I would get something completely random just to try out. They're designed in the USA, manufactured in China, and they are professional grade artist quality pencils. I have my doubts on that. I mean, for $20, come on, man. But I've been proven wrong before, so let's get it open and we'll have a sneak peek on this. And the first thing I notice being in a tube is the colours are all over the place in no particular order. Oh, what fun it is to be swatching these. I can see there are a few other items in here. I'll do a full review on these and get everything out, but I just wanted to have a quick look now, and I'm going to swatch a pencil and see what it's like. And dare I say, we're not off to a good start, because this one has a big crack at the base of the pencil. Oh no. Oh well, I'm not going to send them back because I don't want to have to deal with that. They do actually have a light fast rating on them though, which I'm really surprised about. And when I coloured it out, it seems to be okay. There are even metallic pencils in here. You can see there, that's quite shiny. Metallic pencils are always hit and miss. Sometimes they can be terrible, but this one went down quite smoothly, and I'll pick up the piece of paper in a moment so you can see the sheen on it. It's not looking too bad, so I'm going to reserve judgment on these until I do a full review. It even comes with a full swatch card, and it's very bent in that box, so I'm going to have to sit that out and flatten it. But I'm quite impressed by this. It's on quite a thick piece of paper too, more of a cardstock, and there's plenty of room for swatching there. I'm going to have to put all of those pencils into order first because it will drive me nuts. And then there's some about information. So they started only in 2021, and I'm really curious to know if any of you have used these pencils, because I'd never heard of them before until they just popped up when I was browsing the sales. If you haven't heard of them, then we're going to find out together. But this was my wild card pick from the Prime Day sales. Now, my backdrop on the desk here is looking terrible. I've got this black smudge that will not come off, no matter how much I scrub at it. So I really needed to get some replacement core flute, because that's what I use on my desk. I've also got a whole bunch of pens and things that I use on a regular basis, and they're looking very messy over here. I've got this gravy set that I'm working on as well, but I was thinking I might want to just get a couple of things to tidy this area up a bit more. I'd been eyeing up these Toyo toolboxes for quite a while. They're made in Japan, they're not cheap, but they went on sale at Senior Art Supplies, which have a few stores around Melbourne, and of course I had to pick a red one. They have all sorts of sizes, some really big ones as well, but I thought the smaller size would be nice to have, just to keep all of my pens and pencils in. It's really solid, powder-coated metal, and I thought this would look really nice on my desk, having a lid to hide all of the pens when I'm not using them. It's just a very plain box inside, but plenty of room for my pens. I found some cheap sheets of core flute at Bunnings, which is a hardware store. It's a bit thinner than what I had before, but it's actually bigger, and I think this is going to be perfect for my desk. I got 4 pieces so I can change them over when they get grubby, and I'm just storing 3 of them on this stand that I have in the corner of my studio. But let's get this into place. You can see why I need the core flute, because my desk is black glass. It's getting quite scuffed and damaged there's no way I can get that resin off there. I'm thinking of actually replacing my desk eventually, but for now the core flute will do. It's 900 by 600 millimeters and it fits on my desk perfectly. I'm so happy about that. It covers all of the desk as well, where the other piece didn't. And already everything is looking so much neater. Look at that lovely clean backdrop. It's not going to stay like that for very long. And here's my red toolbox in place. I love it. It's such a pretty colour. And it easily fits all of my pens and pencils. Stuff that I use on a regular basis that I want to be really handy and I can just grab when I'm sitting at the desk. And just before I finish up, I have a last minute addition. I went to the art shop and bought a few new tubes of paint, so I thought I'd show these too. Why not? I decided to get a couple of my absolute favourite Holbeins in the larger size. Indigo, it's one of the best indigos out there, and I've been using it quite a lot lately. Another colour that I'm obsessed with lately is Davies Grey. I thought I'd get a big tube of this because I seem to be going through it quite quickly as well. It's this wonderful greenish grey colour, and I've really been enjoying painting with it. The art shop also had a sale on Daniel Smith watercolours, so I thought I'd get some new ones for my collection. One of their latest releases, Juan Brilliant No. 1, which looks to be a nice pastel yellow colour, and then to go with that one I've also got Juan Brilliant No. 2, which is more of an orange in that pastel tone. And the one that I really wanted to get is this next one, the Coral Reef. It's a really lovely looking pastel pinky colour, and I'm excited to swatch those ones out in a future video. I also just decided to get a Prussian green because I saw it there and I liked the look of it. There were 3 other new releases, but they were higher series and therefore more expensive, so I just went for the Series 1 colours here. These definitely need their own video, I think. And here's just about everything that I showed today, except for the inks because I completely forgot to put those back on the desk. So I'm very happy with my Christmas in July haul. Far too much stuff really, and I naughtily haven't filmed all of the stuff that I got in my previous hauls, but whatever, I had a good time, and I hope you did too. And now I have the fun task of putting all of this away somewhere. But I'd love to know if you bought anything off the Prime Day sales or from anywhere else. I always love to know what you're getting up to with your art supplies. I'll probably do the Paul Rubens stuff first, but let me know if there's anything else that you would really like to see out of the haul today, or anything that I haven't done yet. Remind me because I do forget sometimes. Thank you so much for watching. I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. You might like to subscribe for more videos. And here are a couple of other videos for you to watch. I hope you're having a fantastic day, happy Christmas in July, and I'll see you all again really soon in my next video. Swatch you later, bye!